Good morning, Vietnam. How is everybody? It's a Friday morning. It's man, the days are just clicking by. There's so much stuff happening, good, bad, indifferent. But here we are. It's another Friday. We got some funny stuff for you. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Friday. Great day. Great day to be alive. Excited to be here on the show. Another day for the Nudelberg Daily Huddle, and excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, saw a picture you posted of my grandson burning it out, emptying the tank. Great, cool job, man. Just it's fun to see him enjoying it all.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of adapting, adjusting, and overcoming. He's getting up at 5:30 with us so that he can go to the gym with us, and then he's got a full day at camp over on the beach, and he wears himself out. And then last night he went with us to Louise's dog training and was outside and helping with that. So by the time we got home, he was gassed, but awesome stuff.
It's the pictures you showed of the training are reminiscent of any kind of trainings. People lined up paying attention to an instructor. But when it's dogs, it seems, even funny.
What's really interesting about dog training is that you're training the people as much as you are the dogs. So the instructors are training you on how to be the alpha in the relationship, what your body language and energy means to the dogs, because we assume that dogs speak our language, that they speak, English, and that they can understand words, and they don't. They only understand muscle memory and reward. And so creating consequences, creating rewards, but learning yourself how to do things. And a lot of the people who are in the class have dogs that already have problems. And so they're having to break habits in order to train new habits. So for us, it's great because she's a puppy. We're molding her. There's nothing to break. We're just sculpting. They call it shaping the behavior, which I really like that term. And we're shaping the behavior with her, as opposed to a lot of other people in the class that are having to retrain, break the old habit to then try to shape new behavior.
I think it's obvious. I'm not a dog person. I've never had a dog. But I find that fascinating that they don't understand words, because any dog I've been around, they seem to respond to word commands.
They're trained that way. So what they do is the way it happens is you train the muscle memory to do something with an association with the word, which is why they teach you to keep it to one syllable. So it's sit, down, off, eyes. Like all of these things are single, and you train the behavior by reward and consequence with the word. So they actually don't know the word. They just start to associate the word with the behavior as you get them to do the thing and treat them. It's awesome. I really love it. Being a coach, being somebody who has worked with people for forever, hearing their mentalities and the way you work with dogs it's awesome.
I find that absolutely fascinating, because when you parallel that to human training, maybe
very similar. Very, very similar. And I think that's the thing that, like, with dog training, you have to keep it simple. And with human training, we always overcomplicate it.
Shay,
we always give too much.
Shay, he wants to share.
Yeah.
Well, no, stay, hold, wait, there's so many things. It's, when you have a smart dog too, like, different breeds, poodles, you have a mix of a poodle and, things like that. So the breed matters too.
But what's, major takeaway of that, and we'll get right to wake up music, but the major takeaway for me is when we talk about human behavior, if there are no consequences, you cannot change behavior. That to me is the absolute biggest takeaway, is that there has to be consequences for your actions.
Which is hard for most people with dogs, because they feel bad giving a consequence to the dog. And so, Joseph Gonzalez hits it right on the head. The two most important things to training your dog, which are the exact same for people, are repetition and consistency.
Yeah.
Saying the same thing, doing the same thing, and then doing it over and over and over. And sometimes it takes 100, sometimes it takes 300, sometimes it takes 500. But that's the whole point in training of the dog, is that you stay consistent and that you do it over and over and over.
What are the 2 keys to be successful in life?
Consistency and repetition.
Bingo. Is it repeatable? Lovely. Let's get into some wake up music. We got a fun show for you today. Let's go.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking, time for thinking ahead. Come on now.
So just to kind of close that thought before we get going, Lori brings up a great conversation. You know, is it consequences or is it reinforcing with positive reinforcement? I think if it's bad behavior, you can't positively reinforce it. So
It's both. And so I think that's the thing they teach you in dog training. And I think I said this, I put a post out about it in coaching. I said the 3 most important behaviors of a coach are rewarding, criticizing, and reprimanding. And criticism never travels alone, because if I reward you, I'm still going to criticize you to push you to one level better. If I reprimand you, I'm going to criticize you so you understand why I'm reprimanding you. But there has to be a consequence, both good and bad. We call good consequences rewards. We call bad consequences consequences. It's the same thing. It's reprimanding and rewarding. There has to be something that drives the behavior home in order to get people to want to do it more and understand what they want done.
love it. As we move on, just a quick shout out to Julio. We had a great virtual coffee yesterday. If you haven't met Julio with Synovus Bank, you should. He's 52 years old and he looks like Peter Pan. I was blown away that he was 52. I was thinking he's this guy up and coming in his career, and I'm super jacked to maybe have the opportunity to work with him. But thank you for a wonderful time. So speaking about behavior, speaking about things that you do, this past week, Giannis, at the beginning of the week, he comes out with a quote that everybody loved about the past and the future and ego. Then he wins the championship, and his behavior is he goes to Chick-fil-A. Now, here's a great sequence, but Wednesday was National Junk Food Day. Not sure that Chick-fil-A wants to be called junk food, but take a look at this.
Large cup of ice, bottle of water, and 2 sausage burritos?
Yes, please.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Please don't put me on, thank you.
My babies. I woke up like this. I woke
You
up
didn't even
like
go to sleep.
Yes. So can I have please a 50-piece Mac Minis, 50 exactly,
Okay.
not 51, not 49, chicken minis, yes, 50, and let me have a large drink, no ice, half Sprite, half lemonade.
Okay.
Thank you.
He's a no ice guy.
So here's what's really cool. Jake is so intuitive, and when I get to spend time with him, and I tell this to everybody, I learn every day from somebody. I learn a lot from him, and he goes, "Do you know why he ordered 50?"
Yeah.
And I said, "No, not 51, not 49. 2 reasons. Number one, 50 years since they won the championship, and he scored 50 points. So
Correct. Yeah, he scored 50 points in the game, and
that was pretty cool.
hey, he's one of 3 players, I think, in NBA history to be in that club of scoring, having the Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the NBA MVP. So he is definitely in a very elite club when it comes to performers.
So I saw a picture of him when he was like 5 years ago. He was 196 pounds, kind of, tall but slim. Now he's 242 in that build. He is a strong force to be reckoned with. Congratulations to him again. So I'm going to shift gears in what we normally do. I want to really rev this show up with a great motivational song. So take away motivational music. So I don't know about you, but I'll be singing that all day. I played it yesterday when I was writing the show, and it just lit me up. It's an old, great song, and hopefully you enjoy it. So today, we always talk about national days and stuff like that. Today is National Yada, Yada, Yada Day. And that always brings us back to our friends at Seinfeld. Shay, show me yada, yada, yada.
So, I'm on 3rd Avenue, minding my own business, and yada, yada, yada. I get a free massage and a facial.
What a succinct story.
I'm surprised you drive a Cadillac.
Oh, it's not mine. It's my mother's.
Are you close with your parents?
Well, they gave birth to me and yada, yada.
Yada what?
Yada, yada, yada. Engaged to be married. We bought the wedding invitations and, yada, yada, yada. I'm still single.
So what's she doing now?
Yada.
So speaking of exes, my old boyfriend came over late last night, and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I'm really tired today.
Listen to this. Marcy comes over and she tells me that her ex-boyfriend was over late last night and yada, yada, yada. I'm really tired today. You don't think she'd yada, yada sex?
I've yada-yada'd sex.
Really?
Yeah. I met this lawyer. We went out to dinner. I had the lobster bisque. We went back to my place. Yada, yada, yada. I never heard from him again.
But you yada yada over the best part.
I mentioned the bisque.
Well, I gotta do something.
Well, I gotta do something. George is already in there.
So just classic how that became. Good morning, Christopher Halstead with the TBC Corporation. Welcome aboard. So just a quick history on the word yada, 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 that phrase. It was actually started by a comedian named Lenny Bruce. He would use it near the end of his show and stuff. But that episode was the 153rd episode of Seinfeld, and it was voted the #1 funniest phrase ever. So it really, I don't know, is part of lore. Like people use that all the time. And what I don't think people remember is that, there was a back end to that. If you skip over some details of a story, you miss out on, that actual episode was about they were dating women who were like, one was a racist, but
that was her thing.
Right. So you sort of got to be careful. So I just love it on yada, yada, yada day, skipping over the best parts, but it became the #1 phrase. And so I pulled a list of the 50 top funniest phrases from TV. So you might laugh at some of these, but number 1 on the list was yada, yada, yada. Any guess at what number 2 was?
No, but I mean, to me, like Seinfeld threw out so many great phrases, like man hands.
Right.
Man hands is still a thing that you would talk about, right? Like, I mean, you notice somebody like, oh yeah, she got some man hands, you know?
Well, so listen, so close talker, forget about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Low talker, you know, like where you couldn't hear what they were saying.
So number 50 on the list is another Seinfeld one. Hello, Newman. And I use that one all the time. It's fantastic. So I'll give you the first couple. Number 2 is from Simpsons. Doy.
Yeah. And I was not a big Simpsons fan, but yes, always.
Number 3, which is in the, obviously in the top 3, is How You Doing, which was from what show?
Friends. 1000%. And I use that. How you doing?
Doing, right, So a couple of them that just stuck out at me. Excuse me came from what show?
I don't know.
Okay, that was from Saturday Night Live.
I don't remember it.
Okay. Let's see if there's another.
Let me ask you if this one is on the list. Superstar.
Is that on the list? I don't see it. What was that for?
Because that to me is like, that was I forget her name from Saturday Night Live, but she was the skit where she like would stick her hands in her armpits and then she'd be like, superstar.
So how about this one? Hey.
It's Fat Albert.
Fat Albert. And then we'll close it out with number 49, which was, I still use this all the time. Missed it by that much.
Which was what show? I don't know what show that was.
Get Smart.
Get Smart.
Get Smart. So anyway, the whole list is funny. One of the ones that, again, these are old shows.
Yeah, great job, Gary. The great ad. That's a great ad.
I know nothing.
I don't know.
Hogan's Heroes.
Oh yeah, you're way out. Like, to me, if you're going back to that time, like, I mean, I'll know, like, one of these days, Alice.
There's another one. Great. So anyway, I had fun. You just see how, that becomes, part of the culture. So as we do every day, we try and bring real content. And so today's real subject is, and I had a couple people reach out to me and say, hey, like, what you get up in front of a crowd of 100 or 300, both of us are going to be up in front of the crowd at the Midas convention. That'll be in the thousands of people, 2,000 to 3,000 people. How do you do it? How do you prepare? And so I thought I'd explore the things you need to know in order to become a world-class speaker. There's a top 10 list. Lots of people have put stuff out there, but I can guarantee, I can say this unequivocally, and it is in coaching as well. Coaching is public speaking. When you stood up in front of 60 players, because you were, the special teams guy, you worked with everybody on the team. You get up in front of 60 to 100 people, you can lose them really fast. I found the number one thing was that stories sell, facts tell. So the facts are like,
I think that's what most people don't understand, is that I look at any time I speak to a group of people or anytime I'm speaking to anyone as it's like a journey. Like you're looking at your Waze map, or you're looking at your destination of where you're trying to get to. I have the end in mind on where I want to leave them, but I know that there's going to be stops along the way, and I'm trying to develop that journey as we go through the time together.
So it's interesting you say that, because I've been mentored by some of the greatest, and I always ask questions and how do I get better? When I first got on stage and Lori Salarillo was helpful, I spoke to a conference, the Leadership Broward Conference. There was a couple hundred people there. I was way off my game because the person who spoke before me sort of had like a mental breakdown, legitimately. And so I was supposed to be in a time frame. My time frame was kind of screwed up. It was crazy. But I got on stage And I felt like I needed to connect with every single person. So if you watch it, I'm moving around back and forth. I was told, hey, you're going to make people dizzy. When I watch the thing, I'm ready to throw up myself. It's like, so the idea is to tell the audience up front, and we talk about upfront contracts all the time, up front, what you want them to get out of it. So like when I started with the TBC folks, the Tire Kingdom folks, I said, I want you to listen to all the things I'm going to talk about over the next 90 minutes and take one thing away and put it into practice. One thing. Choose that one thing. At the end, I want to hear the one thing you do. And if you do that over the next 30 days, you'll get better. You know, that's how getting 1% is. It's not ripping a Band-Aid off and trying something new. So stories are really important. I think the new genre of speakers are people like you and me who have actually done it. You know, I've been an entrepreneur. I've had those nights where I couldn't make payroll. I know it. So stories, bring your energy, realize the goal up front. Tell them, you know, what you want to get out of it. Understand that you're there for them, not for yourself. I think a lot of speakers get caught up in their own bullshit, their own stuff. So, you know, for me, it's never about being a public speaker. It's being someone who can share or make an impact. I mean, that's really what I want to do. And I reposted somebody from TBC that said, the best motivational speaker ever, you know, and I was like, thankful for that. But, you know, that's why I do this, you know. Why not?
And I don't think I know you enjoy the motivational part of it, but you're always teaching when you're motivating, and you are really looking to give people something that they can use after. And I think that's the real point to getting engagement. You do a great job of it, of including people in and taking breaks to say, hey, I'm talking about something. Does this resonate with you? Do you have questions? What does this mean to you? You're constantly looking for that call and response, which I think most people don't naturally do or don't think is a natural part of presenting to people. If you really want adoption, and that to me was, I was speaking in front of a group of people every day, but I needed them to not only understand what I was talking about, I needed them to believe in it, and I needed them to go do it. So like, it wasn't just hey, I'm going to get you guys excited to go practice today. I need you to understand the drills that we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish from them, then go do it. So part of that was getting the call and response. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you not understand what I'm saying? Getting everybody involved as a group to create that energy in the room. The engagement is another way to create the atmosphere.
So it's interesting because there's always a couple of people, Jen Homer, who's with True Network. When I spoke in Atlanta, that was the first time I was back on stage in 15 or 16 months. She was right up front and she was dialed in and shaking her head and whatever. For me, and this is what I teach other speakers, you got to find those people in the audience that are dialed into you. They feed your energy. Conversely, if you're focusing on somebody who's lost, and like there was one guy almost sleeping, you know, he was like, you know, it happens. You can't focus on that because that's distracting and it takes you in a different place. But what a great conversation, because, you know, people say, do you get nervous? And I get nervous every time I do something. You know, I mean, it's those butterflies you talked about coming out of the tunnel every time. You know, it's important to feel alive. The butterflies make you feel alive. So when I got up in front of the crowd, you know, there's 100 and something people in front of me waiting to hear. I got introduced as this guy that's going to rock your world.
Yeah,
you got to deliver. So it's always fun. It's always great for those of you who are interested in speaking like D. You know, it is the last thing I'll leave you with, and I know we're in overtime already. And there's one more piece of content I want to share. Practice, practice, practice. I don't get up on stage and wing it. You know, Shay and I go through detailed.
Go through the deck over and over and over. Like you've written the deck and you have an out. So like to me, it starts with an outline. It moves from an outline to the deck so that you know what's coming next and you're helping move people through the journey. Like it's storytelling, But if you don't know where the start and the end is and all of the stops in between, you don't know them like the back of your hand, you're going to struggle with how to get people to the next point, to the next slide, to the next conversation. I think that from preparation to practice is what gets you there.
I love it. And for me, I always imagine myself in the audience. Like, would I be entertaining me? Would I be happy? Because, sometimes I get in front of, high caliber, high executing salespeople. And I go, listen, I already know what you're thinking. What is this guy going to teach me and whatever? So real, genuine, and authentic. Glad that helped. Last thing is tomorrow, the 24th, is National Tequila Day. And so I know we celebrated on Cinco de Mayo. We talked about all kinds of beers and stuff like that. Go out and drink tequila, and here's why. Tequila is a healthier option than most of the other alcohol because it contains fewer calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbohydrates. So I say go out, do a bunch of shots. Here's the 5 different kinds of tequila: Blanco, Reposado, Añejo, Extra Añejo, and Mezcal. Pick one, do a shot, and enjoy.
There's one that Código has that is not on that list, which is Rosa, and it is a Blanco that gets distilled in a old wine barrel, so it gives it a hint of red.
Oh.
Código Rosa is unbelievable. I tasted it at Southern Wine and Food. All right,
Código happens to be a great brand that not a lot of people know about. It's an up and coming brand, but that's a good
great
one. We went way over time, but who cares? Have a great weekend for today. Don't forget, get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million